that we continue to put pressure on Russia around the periphery of Russia. We use our NATO allies. We don't have to do this all ourselves in terms of Russia. We keep the sanctions on until they modify their behavior in 3 places. One is Ukraine. Again, we're not going to get Crimea back, but we can save the rest of Ukraine. Number 2, we need Russia's assistance in Syria, and long term, they're going to have to fall away from Assad. Long term, think Milosevic in the Balkans. And number 3, the cyber piece. They have to give us guarantees that they will not again intrude in our electoral process. So we need to use those sanctions to compel their behavior. I think they're the right set of sanctions. I think the White House is doing the correct thing in signing them.
Now let's look at the military, the fleet thing, as you're talking sea power. Up in the Arctic, I was stunned by one thing in here more than anything else. You always get a fact that sticks. They have 30 icebreakers, 7 of them nuclear powered. We have 6. What is going on the top of the world that most Americans don't even know about? And is blind man's bluff back? The under-the-water Cold War cat and mouse game of submarine fleet versus submarine fleet.
Yeah. It is the hunt for Red October coming back. Blind man's bluff, as you say. We're going to see a great deal of undersea competition in the high north. And on top of that, Hugh, the ice is melting up there. And we could have a debate about the science of this, but as a simple mariner, I will tell you the ice is melting. That's going to open these shipping routes, create competition. It's going to open the hunt for hydrocarbons underwater, more competition. It's going to be Russia on one side of the Arctic, 5 NATO nations on the other, US, Canada, Norway, Denmark on the other side. And that competition is going to be highly maritime in how it unfolds. That's why we have to increase our number of icebreakers, our number of ice-hardened ships, and be ready to operate in the high north.
And on the submarine side, are we building enough attack submarines? I know you said the 12 boomers have to come on to replace the Ohio class. I agree, 100%. That's what I talk about throughout the debates.
Right.
But what about the attack submarine side?
We are not building enough. The coin of the realm in the undersea world are these fast attack submarines. Capable, quiet. We are still a generation ahead of the Russians there. We need to build that number, Hugh, up to about 65. We're languishing in the 50s. That will be crucial in the Arctic.
Let's close our time, and Sea Power spends a lot of time, as it should, talking about our near peer or soon-to-be peer, the People's Republic of China. Dr. Kissinger in On China said there's a party of tigers in Beijing, militarists, and they are building a fleet, and they are militarizing their atolls. What is the strategic view? And we haven't even talked about ISIS, because the strategic challenge is China. What should the audience know about thinking about China from your point of view?
First, that the Chinese play a long game. They are going to think in terms not of decades, but of centuries. Number 2, ultimately, their biggest strategic desire is to control the South China Sea in an area the size of the Gulf of Mexico. This would be like the United States attempting to annex as territorial seas the Gulf of Mexico. China wants it because of hydrocarbons, oil, natural gas, which they do not have on mainland China. Number 3, China will seek to marginalize the United States, push us out, form stronger attachments to the nations of that region. They want to.
And are they successfully getting into a position where they can deny us access to that part of the world?
They will if we let them. And this is why we need a capable fleet. This is why we need sea power. Hugh, we're not going to fight a land war in Asia. We're not going to send our army to fight China. But we will be shoulder to shoulder against them and perhaps over time operate with them in the maritime space. That's why sea power matters in Asia.
Admiral Stavridis, you're going to be on the radio with me this week talking more about sea power, but I want people to know it's a winsome book because it's 11 years at sea. 11 years at sea, and that's the same view that the ancient mariners had, and I like that part of it. But at the end of it, you left me thinking, do you have political ambitions? You ever going to run for anything?
I've served my country for 37 years in uniform. I look for other opportunities to serve, whether that's elective or appointive. Who knows? The Spanish say, nunca sabe los caminos de Dios. No one knows the roads of God. We'll see.
Would you be willing to serve in the Trump administration still?
I think I'm not a good personality or policy fit with the Trump administration. I had a conversation with President-elect Trump at the time of about 90 minutes after the election, and I am not in service in the Trump administration, and I think it unlikely that I would.
So what's your advice as a bystander, but a man who's obviously a patriot and